one with the instructions on it. Whatever I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, I can edit out.
Okay, no problem. Okay, I am writing a paper on assessment for a class in public administration. And the first place I would look for information would be JSTOR. And once in JSTOR, I would just search for assessment, doing an advanced search, adding a field for public administration. I also sort newest to oldest, by the way. Alright. Since my search did not yield adequate articles, I'm changing my fields to assessment and higher education. Here we go. Once I find an adequate source, I go to evernote.com, log in, once in Evernote, I copy the URL from JSTOR, the stable URL, and the title of the article, as well as the abstract. And I save it in Evernote. And I go back to JSTOR and look for another source. feel that my sources are not what I want, I go back and change my field settings. So now I search for faculty assessment and higher education. I go back to Evernote, create a new note for the difference in topic. So while the last one had to do with charter schools, this has to do with faculty motivation. So it gets its new note. And I'll keep track of my sources this way. Um, when I look through JSTOR and I see that a lot of these sources are not really education related, and that's highly annoying and inconvenient. So I'll bump off JSTOR, head over to Google Scholar, see if they have anything worthwhile to contribute, and type in faculty assessment. The problem with Google Scholar, though, is that they pull book reviews and things like that under and classify them the same way, and that's really not helpful unless you just plan to buy all these different books. But they do have a lot of PDFs, which and they take you right back to JSTOR, which can be useful. So here, if I find a valuable source again, I'll copy and paste it into Evernote under the appropriate note. Even though I got it from Google Scholar, it took me back to JSTOR, so JSTOR has really relevant stuff. And the good thing about JSTOR is this stable URL, so it's alright that Google took me back here. I don't think Google Scholar does as good of a job as JSTOR in presenting articles to you, because they just kind of pick out whatever phrase that matches your search criteria instead of listing the entire title of the article, which can be misleading, especially if there's assessment in the title, but assessment's really not the purpose of the article. It wastes your time. But again, if you find a good article, go back and put it in Evernote under the appropriate note. It might seem labor intensive to go back to Evernote every time, but this is totally useful. Easy way to keep track of everything without having to print all of it out.